Hey guys, I just wanted to tell you that today we are doing the last of the Gnostic texts that I have decoded. We will start to get into some of the ancient holy texts like the Enuma Elish, the Epic of Gilgamesh, the Quran, the Code of Hammurabi, Emerald Tablets of Thoth, for example, starting next week. But right now we're going to do the Secret Gospel of John. So as I always start, we're going to start with the 12 signs so that we know the keywords to look for. So Aquarius, the first sign that I start with is represented by the man with the water pitcher. Whenever you hear the word son of man, because they're both the sign of the man, whereas Virgo is the sign of the woman. Baptism, because this is how you baptize someone, a man with a water pitcher. Water pitcher, fountain, stream, river, lake, pond, things of that nature. They're talking about Aquarius. Now, I'm aware that Aquarius is an air sign, whereas Pisces is the mutable water sign. However, when you're talking about water, because there is water in this sign, as Aquarius, the man with the water pitcher, when you get into the stories of the Bible and these ancient holy texts, that's what they talk about. They're talking about water. So the first two signs that I talk about, Aquarius and Pisces, all the water signs are the same. All the water examples are the same. So what basically you do is you have to determine based on cross signs and neighboring signs which one they're talking about. So you got to do a little bit of homework in order to do that. Aries is the ram, and in Aries you have March 21st, which is the spring equinox. It's a 12-hour day, 12-hour night. It's also the Passover. It's when God passes over Egypt and smites the firstborn sons. You'll see the death of the firstborn son. You'll see the death of Abel. You'll see the death of Jesus. You'll see many deaths of the firstborn son. Talking about the firstborn son, Isaac. There's constant mention, whereas they talk about the 3 days. Okay. They also talk about the death of the firstborn son. And basically what Passover is for the Jews is God kills the firstborn sons. Anybody that doesn't have the lamb or the ram, Aries the ram's blood on their doorpost. It's also the Passover, or the passing over of the sun over the equator. That's celebrated on March 21st. And in Aries, you have both Passover, the sun passing over in astrotheology, and the resurrection of God's son, which is in Christianity known as Easter. So now if you're talking about ram, lamb, shepherd, ram's horn, Jews, because Jews are people of Aries, they're talking about Aries. Taurus is the bull. When you look in the sky and you see Taurus during the season where it's supposed to be, you know that you need to put the plow on the bull so that you can plant the seed so you can harvest in Virgo and Libra. So whenever you hear bull, ox, calf, or cow being a female bull, they're talking about Taurus. Gemini is the twins, the story of Castor and Pollux Troy, whose sister was Helen of Troy. It's the story of Achilles. So now you're talking about twins or brothers, they're talking about Gemini. Cancer is the crab. It's the sideways moving creature. Now you all know how the sun starts rising a degree on December 25th. Every additional day, it rises an additional degree till it hits June 21st. Then just like the crab, it walks sideways for 3 days at that height, drops a degree on June 25th, continues to drop a degree every single day till December 21st. Okay, and then walks 3 days to the side and then walks up again. That's what the sun does every single year. Okay, the crab walks sideways. That's why in June 21st, which is Cancer, the crab walks sideways. So whenever you hear crab or beetle, they're talking about Cancer. And the reason beetle is because the zodiac has pretty much stayed the same for a very long time. From what I gather, it's only changed twice. And you're talking about Western tropical zodiac, Western tropical astrology. You're not talking about Chinese or Eastern. This is what the Bible was written on. And it was written in the Northern Hemisphere. That's why the science works this way. Basically, the Egyptians had two changes. The crab used to be the beetle, the scarab, actually. And the Sphinx used to be Leo, the lion. Leo is the king, the lion, the king of the jungle. The ruling planet of Leo is actually the sun. So whenever you talk about lion, lioness, cub, you're talking about Leo. Virgo is the woman holding the wheat stalk. Remember before when you said that you plant in Taurus? Well, the virgins would cultivate the wheat in Virgo in order to make bread for the year. So whenever you're talking about Virgo, wheat, grain, seed, barley, corn. And I get a lot of pushback when I do podcasts. People talking about corn as a modern day crop. It's not. It's at least 10,000 years old that it's been cultivated. And if you were to just do a simple Google or DuckDuckGo search and find out when you harvest corn, you'll find that it's in September, which is in Virgo. Then Libra is the justice, the scales, the balance, the just one. The reason it's the justice is because it judges God's sun as it passes over the fall equinox and begins its descent into winter, into cold, into death. The Jews always celebrate the new year around the fall equinox. Now, Libra being the justice, the judgment, the just one, the judge, the judgment. 8 days after the Jewish New Year, you have a holiday called Yom Kippur, which is the day of judgment, and that's always in Libra. The Jews go to temple, they don't eat or drink all day, and they pray that God will keep them in the book of life for additional year. Libra is also wine season. So you plant the grapes in Taurus, you water them, April showers bring May flowers, and then it rains and it rains and it rains, and then you pick the grapes in Libra and you crush them into wine. Libra is also olive oil season, okay? So when you crush the olives into oil in Libra. Okay, so there's a lot going on in Libra. You just got to remember those keywords. Scorpio is the scorpion. He's the betrayer. When a scorpion bites you, it leaves an imprint in your skin that looks like 2 lips. That's why the mafia has the kiss of death. And that's why Jesus was betrayed by Judas with a kiss. Out of all the ways that you can point someone out in a crowd, give them a hug, throw a stone at them, point to them, he gave him a kiss because he represents Scorpio. Sagittarius. This is where the bow and the arrow shoot the sun and inflict further punishment on the sun. This is where the sun dies. And that happens in December 21st. Because remember, the sun's at its lowest point. It doesn't rise above the horizon. So the ancients used to look on December 21st and be like, the sun is dead. And then it walks sideways for 3 days. So suddenly God's sun is dead for 3 days. I'm not telling you guys anything new right now. But basically, that's what it is. Okay. Then on December 25th in Capricorn, it starts its climb back up. Capricorn is the goat because he likes to climb the mountain. He starts the climb back up to the summit in June 21st in Capricorn. So those are your 12 signs. And usually I would start, well, I like starting in Aquarius just because it just is. But usually what you would do is you would start the year in Aries because that's the spring. That's when everything opens. Basically, everything opens up for the year. Everything comes back to life. The origin of reality. Let's just jump right in. So you have the origin of reality. The Father is surrounded by light. He apprehends himself in that light, which is the pure spring of the water of life that sustains all realms. He is conscious of his image everywhere around him, perceiving his image in this spring of spirit pouring forth from himself. He is enamored of the image he sees in the light water, the spring of the pure light water enveloping him. So you're talking about light, you're talking about water. The Father is surrounded by light is the sun, which is the pure spring of water and life that sustains all realms. That's the sign of Aquarius and Pisces, the water, okay? Perceiving his image in the spirit, pouring forth himself. That's the water bearer, that's Aquarius. The spring of pure light water enveloping him. It's a metaphor for Aquarius, representing the water, right? And being pure light. The stars are pure light. The stars of Aquarius are light. So it's the light of the water. His self-aware through Noah came into being. His self-aware thought in Noah came into being, appearing to him in the effulgence of his light. She stood before him. This then is the first of the powers prior to everything. She is from his image in his light, perfect in power, image of the invisible, perfect virgin spirit. You have to ask yourself this question. They have the sign of man, right? Right? They have the sign of man, which is Aquarius, and the sign of woman, which is Virgo. Okay? But why can't the man be a virgin? Why is it always the woman being a virgin? And it goes back to the purity thing, the chaste thing. Nowadays, they talk about virginity as not being such an important thing, but it was important back then. Also, if you were going to write a book, why would you consistently use the phrase virgin? It's sexual in nature. You're trying to talk about purity here. She stood before him. He is Aquarius and Pisces border, as he is the sign of the man. She stood before him as the opposing sign of Virgo, the perfect virgin spirit. Okay. So I talk about the dividing lines in the zodiac being the firmament. Okay. I know that a lot of people don't like that, but that's that's what I teach. Basically, when you're at a firmament, when you're at a dividing line, when you're at a cusp of two signs, okay, there's a handover of energy. There's a handover of information. Okay. God, in the Bible, it says God keeps, what does it say? It says God, the firmament shows God's handiwork. Okay. Now, the firmament being the dividing lines between the signs. When you're at a dividing line between Aquarius and Pisces, you could talk about the man, or you could talk about fish, because you could talk about either sign. That's what the cutoff dates do. That's what the dividing lines do. That's what the cusps, the handover dates, whatever you want to call them, that's what they do. So again, we're talking about opposing and connecting signs. That's how we know this was done, because it was a pattern. So she's the perfect virgin spirit, that's Virgo, okay? And he stood beside her, across from her. So that's Aquarius, the man. So the way that you make them connecting signs is you use the Aquarius Pisces border. And they do this plenty of times. When you're talking in the Bible of, for example, behold a sheep, I send you out amidst wolves, right? Sheep is Aries, and the wolf is Lupus, which borders Libra, okay? It borders Libra. So those are connecting signs, Aries and Libra, okay? So that's just one example, but basically there's a lot of ways to do it. You can have a direct connection between two signs. You can connect them at the firmaments. There's ways to have this discussion. It's a language, okay? Tertiary structures of the divine mind. 12 realms stand before the sun of the powerful. 12 realms belong to the sun of the autogenes. 12 realms are the 12 zodiac signs. The sun of the autogenes, or the sun. The sun is the 12th, is in the sun in the 12 zodiac signs. That's what they mean. A crisis that became the world. Sophia saw what her desire produced. It changed into the form of a dragon with a lion's head. Now, I'm not going to go into who Sophia is because it's irrelevant for this passage. We're just going to decode the passage itself. Okay? Draco is the sign. Dragon is the sign of Draco. The lion's head is Leo, the lion. Now, Draco, the constellation, okay, its tail goes from Aries to Sagittarius. It's enormous. That's why in the Bible, it's a third of the zodiac. That's why in the Bible, it says the dragon's tail will sweep a third of the, in Revelation 12:1, it says the dragon will sweep the tail will sweep a third of the stars from the sky and fling them to earth. It's just a metaphor. The zodiac, the dragon's tail is from Aries to Sagittarius. That's 4 signs. That's a third of the zodiac. That's what they're talking about. Okay. So the lion's head is Leo, the lion. Draco is the sign of the dragon. Okay. It's a very large constellation. Okay. That's on the left side of the zodiac. The lion's on the right. But the tail actually goes through Pisces. I'm sorry, Aquarius, which is the opposing sign of Leo, the lion. So there's that dynamic to it too. The fashioning of this world. He made the first 7 rulers to reign in the 7 spheres of heaven. Okay. At the time these ancient texts were written, see, right nowadays we have 88 constellations that we know, okay, including the zodiac, okay, in our neck of the woods. When the Bibles were written, we knew of 48, okay, and they knew of 7 planets. They didn't know there was 9. They knew of 7 planets, and Saturn was a lot closer to us too. If you look at Wikipedia, it'll tell you that Saturn, I believe, if I'm getting it right, Saturn was discovered in 1610 by Copernicus, which is horseshit. Okay, because we know that the ancient religions went back to Saturnalia worship. We know about the earrings and the wedding rings. We know about all this stuff. Okay, we know that Saturn worship went back there. Okay, they just lie to you. They just make things up. Okay, now the first 7 rulers to reign the 7 spheres of heaven are the Elohim. The Elohim are the 7 planets. El is God, Ohim is plural. So it's basically like adding an apostrophe S. It's adding more to it. It's like saying it's like giving additional possession. His rulers created 7 authorities for themselves. Each of these authorities created 6 demons apiece. There came to be 365 demons altogether. Here are the 7 authorities' names and physical forms. Metaphor for the days of the year, the 365. Where else do you see the 365? You see the 365. Well, let's see. The days of Enoch, or the years of Enoch. Okay. The years of the calendar. There were 360 days, and they say that Thoth, from the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, also known as Hermes Trismegistus to the Egyptians, won the 5 days by gambling with the moon. Okay, so there's 365 that goes a long way. It's an ancient number. This isn't anything new. First, Athoth with the sheep's face. So here are 7 authorities' names and physical forms. First is Athoth with the sheep's face. Well, why is Athoth first? Why is the sheep first? Because that's Aries. Sheep is Aries, and Aries comes at the beginning of the year. Okay, it starts the year. Second, Eleos with the donkey's face. Asellus Borealis means donkey and is located in the sign of Cancer. Okay, there is something called the Feast of the Ass, which sounds great, doesn't it? It sounds hysterical. The Feast of the Ass. When people used to tell stories about donkeys and read the donkey passages in the Bible, some of the donkey passages, his emissions were as large as donkeys, or riding the donkey into town. Or the donkey's of Salus Borealis. It was a very prominent star that they knew. It was located in the sign of Cancer, Cancer being at the top. So it's one of the highest signs, one of the highest stars that you'd be able to see. That's why they make such names out of such use out of the donkey. Third, Astaphios with a hyena's face. Draco is also known as 2 hyenas, Eta Draconis and Zeta Draconis. Fourth, Yao with the face of a 7-headed snake. This is the sign of Ophiuchus, the snake bearer, or the snake charmer. There's another one that it could be, but I don't think it is. It could also be Ophiuchus, the snake bearer. It could also be Hydra, the sea serpent. See, there's examples. Like when you're talking in astrology and you're talking about Scorpio, and you're talking about the eagle being the evolved scorpion, there's that. And then there's also the sign Aquila, or the constellation Aquila, which means eagle. So there's multiple meanings. There's multiple examples of this throughout the Bible, okay? And throughout the Gnostic texts. It's not just held to one thing. There's different interpretations you can, but it always goes back to astrology. That's the thing, okay? Fifth, Sabaoth, who has the face of a dragon. Again, another mention of Draco the dragon. 2 mentions within the 7. It's such a large constellation. It played so many prevalent parts. It's part of the Chinese zodiac. Draco is quite important. Sixth, Adonis, whose face is that of a monkey. Well, the monkey head nebula is in Orion. Okay, Orion is between Taurus and Gemini. Okay. Seventh, Sagittarius with the face of flame and fire. That's the sun. The new Sabbath is the Sunday. It's talking about the sun with a face of flame and fire. The Jewish people worshipped on the Saturn day. Again, we didn't discover Saturn in 1610 by Copernicus or whatever they say it was. I mean, it's just a flat out lie. Like, they lie to you. They don't think that you know this. But the new religion will worship on the Sunday. Humanity begins. There came a voice from the higher realm saying, the man exists and the son of man. The son of man is the sign of the man Aquarius. Okay? Man exists and he's based on Aquarius, the sign of the man with the water pitcher, or son of man. He illuminated the waters above the world of matter. His image shone in the waters. All the demons and the first ruler together gazed up towards the underside of the newly shining waters. Through that light, they saw the image in the waters. How many times are they going to mention water? The water above is the world of matter, is Aquarius and Pisces. Okay. They gazed up towards the underside of the newly shining waters. Through the light, they saw the image in the waters. They saw the two fish. The children of Seth populate the world. He begot a son like the Son of Man, modeling him on the heavenly race in the higher realms. There you go. That's the book of that's the secret gospel of John, guys. I'm very, very excited to start talking to you about non-biblical and show you non-biblical and non-Gnostic texts. Just go into older stuff, Sumerian, Egyptian. Super excited to start doing that next week. These are the books we've gone through. We've done the top chapter. So the book's not Bible related. That's the next step in our studies here. The Emerald Tablets of Thoth, the Enuma Elish, the Epic of Gilgamesh, Code of Hammurabi, Quran, Book of the Dead. As I've mentioned, I've picked these in no particular order, but I'm going to go through them in an order. Go through them in that order. Okay? And I have a book series where I talk about things, you know, and some of them are gematria, etymology, numerology, astrology, astronomy, astrotheology, OBEs, out-of-body experiences, Akashic records, symbology, remote viewings, religious secrets of the capstones of the pyramid, mystery school channelers, near-death experience, DMT monitoring, lucid dreaming, acoustic levitation, physics and quantum physics, psychotherapy, psychology, spiritual guides, and shared dreaming and crystal technology. Conspiracies that not many people know about, corruption and secret societies. I've written a series of books, this being the first one, Beneath the Veil. It's called Into the Rabbit Hole, and they're just rabbit holes that you go down. They're fun to read. Me and my publicist, we're getting a script written, and we're trying to pitch it to TV shows and movie producers in Canada, the UK, and America this upcoming year. So, I mean, if you guys like what I do with astrotheology, you're going to love what I do with like conspiracies and the hidden truth and hidden information in this book series. Into the Rabbit Hole series at gmail.com is my email if you want to reach out to me, if you have any comments or questions or anything. And I always like to end with this because it's true. My point, once again, is not that those ancient people told literal stories and we are now smart enough to take them symbolically, but that they told them symbolically and we are not dumb enough to take them literally. I love that. I want to get that tattooed on me. I love that quote so much. And it's so prevalent. So I think that should be it. And I will see you guys next week. Thank you.